Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Elise Reads and Speaks. Today I am bringing you my January wrap-up in the middle of February because that's how I do things here, alright? You know, I just didn't have time to film, and quite frankly, at the beginning of this month, I did not have the best time because I unfortunately had to put my old man to sleep. MacGyver, he's 15 years old. I've had him for over 14 years, and it was tough, man. Okay, but feeling better now, so I figured I would get back to filming. So let's just hop into the books that I read in January. The first book that I started off with was Messenger. This is the third book in the Giver Quartet. So in December I read The Giver, and I also read Gathering Blue. Now I'm holding it backwards. Sorry. Okay. I went on to Messenger. This is the cover. This is the cover of Messenger. This is the third book in the Giver Quartet. All right, and I enjoy this one. A lot of people don't go any further than The Giver. I don't know if I like this one better than Gathering Blue or if they're on the same wavelength. I thought there were some important lessons in here that were good for kids, kind of spelled out. It's like, it's not a dystopian society, the same one that you had seen in the first book, but it's different. They refer to each other as their real names, their given names, whether it's Messenger or Jonas turns out to be Leader, but they give each other names as far as their profession goes or what they bring to that community, and that's the name they go by. So, you know, Elise, I wouldn't be going by Elise. Maybe I'd go as like teacher or actor or something that means something to the community that you bring to it, which I think is pretty cool. And then this like darkness starts seeping into the community because I think his name is stock trader, trade something. Okay, somebody who trades stuff, but it's not bartering like you would imagine, like as far as like giving money and then getting something in return. No, you're like giving a part of yourself away to get something that you want. So everyone starts becoming really twisted and really greedy and conceited and forgetting about the important things in life. So I think this one has some good lessons for kids. So after that one, I went on to Sun. Oh my gosh. When I got through like the first chapter, there were tears in my eyes. You know why? Because we went back to the community that was in the first book of The Giver. Okay, Jonas's community. We were back there and learning about birth mothers. And I had never read this book before, and I was just so overcome with emotion because I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. We're back in the community. This first book that I fell in love with, and I was just getting really emotional about it. And it was just, I will say that the book is broken up into 3 parts. The first section of this book, the first part, oh my gosh, I loved it. I felt like we just got to know so much more about the intricacies of the community that we didn't get from The Giver because we were just seeing it from Jonas's perspective. And we see it from a different girl's perspective in here, and it was just like, oh my gosh, it was giving me things that I didn't even know that I wanted. The second part, like, what the hell? I am not exaggerating things when I say that the entire second part of this book, she's learning how to climb a mountain. What the fuck? Learning how to climb a mountain, okay? Then she finally does climb the mountain, and that takes forever. I think that whole second part was like 100 to 200 pages. I was like, what? I got through the first part, and I was so happy. The second part, I was so disappointed. I mean, like, oh man, I was disappointed. Like the first part I cried because I was so happy. This one I was crying because I was just getting so angry that I'm listening to a mountain. I'm just learning about a mountain. And then the third part did pick it up, and it went away from the mountain, but it just wasn't enough to get me past that hump. Like I only gave this one 3 stars, which I was totally bummed about because The Giver I gave 5 stars, Gathering Blue and Messenger I gave like 4 stars, 3.5 to 4 stars, pretty much 4 stars. This one, 3 stars because of the middle part. Blech. The next book that I went on to was The Disappearances by Emily Bain Murphy. This was a book club pick, our first book of the year, and I only gave it 2 stars. Oh, we are not off to a good start. It was just really boring. And I was kind of bummed because it had some good stuff in there, some interesting stuff. Like when I just see the title, The Disappearances, I just in my head think that like people are disappearing from a community, you know, like they're vanishing and I don't know what's happening to them. That wasn't it. It was like different things were vanishing. For example, music. Like you couldn't hear music anymore. People could play music, but you couldn't hear the music that they were playing. Like disappearances like that. Like, doesn't that sound really cool? I think it sounds really cool. But even though it sounds really cool, that the story itself just ended up to be very boring, and I was just slogging through it, and I felt like I was getting more and more pissed off because the bones of the story were good and it was just not good follow through. Then I went on to The Golden Lily by Rochelle Mead, which is the second book in the Bloodline series, and I loved it. All right, I'm not gonna go too much into it at all because it's, you know, it's a sequel to Bloodlines, which is the offshoot of Vampire Academy. Thoroughly enjoying my time. 4 stars. The next book I read was Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson, and I was disappointed. I gave this one 3 stars, and I'm so bummed. I mean, it seemed to have everything that I would think that I would love. You know, it's got the fantasy aspect. I love fantasy. It has talking books. Like, come on, right? It takes place in a library. All of these little intricate things in there were so cool. And I found myself not caring. I don't think I cared about the main characters. I thought the story was kind of flimsy. There wasn't like a big reveal or anything. And now that it's passed a little time, I couldn't tell you much about the story other than that when I finished, I was like, I mean, it's 3 stars. It was creative and it held my attention, but it's not one that I would pick up again. Next, I went on to Romanov by Nadine Brandis, and this one I ended up giving like 3.5 stars and rounding up to 4. I thought it had some pretty cool things in there as far as the history that it took from the Romanovs and twisting it to like magic in a way that you thought, you know, maybe this could happen. Maybe this is what really did happen if you were to believe in witchcraft and that sort of thing. There were just some things that were lacking in it for me, and I can't even tell you exactly what they were. I thought the character work, at least for Anastasia, was good. I really felt the bond that she had with her family. Some of the side characters, like her sister and the guy that her sister was falling in love with, I really liked that story, and I could feel it between them too. I mean, there was some really good things in here, but it was lacking. And I will say, without saying who did what, but like, I don't think I could forgive somebody that willingly shot me. Perhaps that was what I didn't like about this. I can't picture somebody shooting me and apologizing and me going, oh, okay. So I'm sure that knocked it down a peg for me. But, you know, there were some good things in here that I did like. It was a different take on the story that I hadn't come across before. And I think maybe this is one that I would pick up again in the future. So we'll see. Next, I went on to The Royal We, I think by Heather Cox and Jessica Morgan. Yes. Oh, this was fabulous. Okay, this one I also gave 4 stars. However, I enjoyed this one much more than Romanov, but it's not a 5-star read. It was more like a 4 to 4.5. So maybe I'll give it like a 4.5 rounded down to 4. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense in my head. Even if it doesn't make sense to you, it's fine. This is Kate and William fanfiction. It is quite lovely. Like, there's some intrigue in it. There's drama, there's betrayal, there's the romance. It was great. And they are popping out another book this year, a sequel to this. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm definitely gonna read it. If you are into some royal romance or you just want to read some William and Kate fan fiction, I mean, go for this. It's so good. And my first read with my son this year, in the year of 2020, was Matilda. Oh my gosh, I love this book. I haven't read it in a very long time, but it still holds up after like 10 to 20 years. It is so freaking good. If you don't know what this story is about, in a nutshell, it's a girl not from a great home, discovers that she has some powers, forms a bond with her teacher, and together they try and get to the Trunchbull. The Trunchbull is the mean principal of the school. Okay, that's just in a nutshell. I don't want to give anything else away because it's fantastic. Fantastic. And my son loved it. I read it with him. He likes me to read out loud. And then he took it to school with him right after we stopped reading it, and read the entire thing again. So he read it twice in January because he loved it so much. Oh, it makes me so happy. Then I went on to The Queen of Nothing. You know, I don't understand all the hate for this book. Maybe not hate, but there's a lot of disappointment for this one. And I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It pretty much gave me everything that I wanted. I'm not sure what you wanted. Maybe you just wanted more of what we've been getting. Because, I mean, I guess I gave The Cruel Prince and The Wicked King 5 stars, and I gave this one 4 stars. So it did dip down a little bit, but I wasn't disappointed. I mean, like, I got what I wanted, and I would read it again. I'd read the entire series again. So I highly enjoyed it. And going off of that one, the last book that I read in January, I did not highly enjoy. Truly, Madly, Royally by Debbie Regaud. Oh ho ho ho. 1 star. That was awful. Like, awful. Truly, madly awful. Like, it, okay, we go back to the royal we. I like some royal hallmarky kind of stories, so I thought that's what I would be getting with this. This was another book club pick, by the way, so we are really not off to a good start. Okay, because I give the Disappearances 2 stars, giving this 1 star. Oh my gosh, it was just, oh, it was so cringeworthy in so many times. The main premise is that this girl, who is black, falls in love with a prince who is white, all right? And you think that there would be a lot of interracial stuff going on, some different conversations, but there's really not. There wasn't a lot of that. I mean, there was some stuff that they touched on to let us know that she was black, but like, it felt very surface level to me, and there were times that it made me feel uncomfortable, and I don't know why that is. I can only just tell you how I felt while I was reading it. And also they made this heroine, that's what I mean. Like, she's not a heroine, she's a main character, but they made her just so good. Everything about her was good. Okay, this girl was like 16 years old, right? She creates her own community outreach program. She really feels for the kids. She really loves listening to the kids. She brings the prince to talk to the kids because she's all about the kids, because she's just dripping with goodness. And I mean, honestly, when a character is that good, it's so freaking boring, so boring. And the prince's only role was to be a prince. There was like no layer to his character. He was just a prince. He was a prince. That was it. Ugh, boring. Boring, boring, boring. So that's it. That's all the books that I read in January. 10 total books. I think my 2020 is off to a pretty good start. If I were to do 10 books every month, that's 120 books. I don't think I'll end up doing that, just because, you know, life, but still, at least I'm getting a good start in January. Oh, and you know what? Also, my wallet is off to a good start because this past week I won $500 on Givling. Do you know Givling? Do you play Givling? It's like this trivia crowdfunding app that their main goal is to eliminate student debt. But even if you got to like the grand prize and you were in the #1 spot and you didn't have student debt, it could go to your mortgage too, which I think is pretty awesome. But anyway, they pick daily winners for the daily drawing, and I was one of the winners this week. $500. It's so exciting. Okay. If you're interested in playing Givling, I'll put my code down below. I would appreciate if you use it because then I could get some queue points that would make me rise up in the queue for that top prize. That'd be super cool. Okay, I think that's all that I have to update you on. All right, well, thank you for tuning in to Elise Reads and Speaks. I will catch you next time, guys. Bye.